What's up, guys? Welcome to Joint Jack. Today we're working on the shoulder. With the shoulder's ability to move and the freedom of movement inside the shoulder has a lot more capability of small nagging injuries than any other joint other than the hip, just because of the freedom of movement. So what we're trying to do in today's session, we're trying to kind of safeguard different positions that athletes may be in, whatever realm, whatever focus your sport may be. So we are focusing our attention on rotation first. As with any joint other than the spine, we have to have the ability to rotate first. Then we can add complexity of linear movement, so bringing the arm up, out to the side, back behind us, after we take care of rotation. Shoulder's ability to internally rotate is of utmost importance. The shoulder's ability to externally rotate is the secondary focus. Okay, today we're going to kind of bypass internal rotation because this is an abbreviated session and we're working more on external rotation. Then we'll take care of some flexion and some abduction and adduction as we kind of go along. We're going to start our practice by doing shoulder cars. Now I'm going to take a seat, so I'm sitting on this bench. Legs are going to go out in front of my body. You can sit like this as well. I'm just kind of moving it out of the way. Give me a little bit more freedom of the movement back behind me. Your first step to cars is turning your palm up. Arm is going to come across the body. We lift that arm up. Bicep comes next to the ear. Continue moving back behind me. Shoulder is going to rotate internally, and then I'm going to continue to rotate that shoulder in. We reverse direction. Arm goes back. Externally rotate, so we take care of that rotation. Arm comes up towards my body and back down. Let's go and do 2 more repetitions. As I always say, I typically do my cars rather than repetition based. I do them for time. Back and around and backwards and back down. Take a second to turn sides, or you guys can just go right into your opposite direction. Reminder, as that arm comes up and back behind you, when I get to my ear, I'm thinking rotation the entire time. So I'm trying to rotate my shoulder more and more and more and more, trying to open up and free up some more space in the capsule of the shoulder. Second repetition. And third repetition. Good work. Reminder what cars do. So if anytime you guys are going through your cars and you have some pinching or stabbing, you shouldn't be working through that every single time, because what it's telling your brain is when I move my arm here, it creates pain. So it's going to start to shut that off a lot sooner than if you brought your arm up, you feel a sensation here and you kind of bring yourself out of it, and we can show ourselves what freedom of movement looks like in a pain-free range rather than movement that creates pain. So just keep that in mind. First movement here that we're going to work on is external rotation. Okay, remember the shoulder can move all over the place. Okay, so when I'm up here, I should be able to externally rotate my shoulder. My arm is out straight to the side. I should be able to externally rotate my shoulder. Elbow bent, externally rotate. So we have a lot of different areas that we need to take care of external rotation and internal rotation. Today's focus is not an end-all be-all. It's just 2 different positions. I have my mat set up on the floor, and I also have the leg of this rack here. Okay, you can do this against a door frame. You can do this against the corner of your bed post, whatever works that you can get your hands set onto the object. I'm placing my right arm down, so right forearm down, and then I'm going to rotate my body counterclockwise. So rotating my body counterclockwise. Now I have mobility here to actually bring my knee up and back behind my elbow to give me a little bit more rotation in the shoulder here. If you don't have that mobility, it's totally fine. I can even get my body down on the ground if my knees don't want to handle this position. Once I'm here, I'm going to start pushing my hand into the rig post. That will be my pales contraction. I should feel it on all of this stretch stuff out here. My rails contraction, I'm going to aim to keep my elbow in place, and then I'm going to try to rotate my wrist off of the rig post. Okay, so I had a little bit of movement there, so I'm going to rotate my torso further to the left or counterclockwise to me, and I'm going to push that wrist into the rig post at 20%, 40, 60, 80. If 80 doesn't feel good, go back down to 60. Otherwise, you got 100% driving that hand into the rig post as hard as you can, keeping a good contraction here. This should be work, okay? If you guys aren't pushing as hard as you can, just to kind of reserve some energy, just push hard, okay? We're trying to elicit change, and that takes work. 3, 2, 1. Let's try to rotate the hand off of the rig post. Squeeze all the stuff on the back side of your lat, the back of your shoulder, trying to lighten the pressure that the hand is pushing into the rig. 3, 2, 1, relax, and we're gonna switch sides. I'm gonna actually have my back turned towards you, so this might not be the best position, but it will be a really good position to see what rails contraction should look like. So we're doing the same thing, left hand down. This time I'm rotating my torso clockwise, getting my knee set up back behind that elbow. I'm going to start pushing my hand into the rig post at 20%, 40. The stretch is too much. You can rotate the torso back as needed. 60%, push harder. Keep that elbow in the same position. Keep your torso in the same position. Give me more pressure, 80%. And 100% go, driving that hand into the rig post as hard as you can. Should be shaking here, creating intensity with the right hand pushing into the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Try to rotate the hand off of the rig post. Really trying to lighten the load and the connection and contraction that your hand is pushing into the rig, and spill that contraction back to the back side of the shoulder. 3, 2, 1. Relax. You can take your hand out of that position. Now that setup is one of my favorite for athletes that have to be up in a front rack position, or athletes that have to be in a position where one hand is back behind you. We think baseball, hockey, golf, anything where that arm has to go back while the other one is swinging itself back into internal rotation. So that's a great setup for this. We're going to work some eccentrics here in this position as well. Okay, so we're going to get the arm set, elbow into the side, hand on the rig post, and then I'm going to turn my body towards the end range of motion. Okay, so I'm taking myself from a mid-range of motion, something that I'm comfortable with. I'm in this position quite often, and then I'm going to rotate myself into external rotation, slowly increasing the intensity of the stretched stuff, as well as bringing myself further into an end range of motion for external rotation. Lots of words. This is a much easier task than what I made it seem. Stand up, and you can use a door frame for this if you're at home and you don't have a rig post, but I'm going to get my hand set behind the rig post, and I'm going to start by facing my arm. Then I'm going to turn my hips away from my hand. So my right arm is by the rig post. I'm turning my hips to the left to give me room to rotate my torso. So once I'm ready here, again, I'm going to start my torso pointed towards my hand. I'm going to drive my hand into the rig post and then keep my elbow locked into my side here. Pushing and squeezing my chest in towards the rig post as well. I'm going to start rotating my torso counterclockwise. Ready? Go. We're taking 5 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Go back to the start. Push the hand into the rig post and rotate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to the start. Hand into the rig post and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to the beginning. 2 more. Hand into the rig post and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 more. Hand into the rig post and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left side. This is my non-dominant side, so this should feel a little awkward since I'm in this position very often for different sports that I play. Elbow in towards the rib cage, left hand against the rack. Now I'm turning my body clockwise, pushing against the rig, opening up my hips to the right, and turning the torso. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Now I have way more range of motion on my right compared to my left. So this time I'm actually going to start rotated counterclockwise more to give me more space to move. Okay, so I'm going to actually face the wall back behind me, push my arm into the rig post, and open itself up. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Much better on that one. That's 2. We got 3 more. Hand the rig post and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back to the start and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 more into the rig post and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. And we're going to make ourselves comfortable back on the floor. So just like I was talking about, taking care of rotation first is paramount to every joint in the body minus the spine. Okay, every single joint of our body can rotate. Our fingers, we can rotate our fingers, we can rotate our wrists, our forearm can rotate, my shoulder can rotate, hips can rotate, tibia can rotate, ankle can rotate. If you haven't done the full body hip car video from Joint Jacked, you should go back. This can be found in the general assessment, or you can go back to the archives, one of the first videos that we have posted. You should understand rotation of the body, okay? Because our spine can rotate too, that's not the fundamental movement of that joint. The fundamental movement of that joint is flexion and extension. So the only caveat to that rule of rotation first, then linear movement second, is the spine, where we take care of linear movement first, and then we work on rotation second. Okay, since we did a little bit of rotation of the shoulder and external rotation, we're now going to work flexion of the shoulder. Okay, we're using a PVC pipe for this. I'm going to get my PVC jammed up against this rig post just to allow me a little bit more safety and comfort, and know that my post isn't going to slide out from under me. So I have my PVC in my left hand. I'm going to bring my right foot up, and then I'm simply going to lean forward until I can feel a stretch in the shoulder. Now here, my body may want to twist because of my torso and because of my spine's ability to twist to get more height, but really the focus needs to be in the shoulder. So aim to keep the chest square to the wall in front of you, and then bring yourself into a stretch that is comfortable. Now if I go as deep as I can, start to feel a little pinch in the top side of my shoulder. That is called a closing angle joint pain. So as my arm goes up, that's the closing side of the joint. This is the opening side of the joint. If we feel any sensation in closing joint, we shouldn't move as deep into the stretch as we can, because we have to clear that out with more rotation work, okay? So once I get in this position, I'm not going to bring my arm as low as I can. We're going to do 1 pails and rails on each side, and then we'll be done with our shoulders for the day. I'm going to start to stab my PVC down into the floor. Okay, I'm finding that stretch if able. And then I'm pushing more pressure down into the floor. 20%. Giving myself 40%. 60, and you can see that PVC is starting to shake. 80, driving the PVC down. Understanding where my torso is in space, because my torso should not move anymore. 100% go. Drive that hand down, drive the arm down. Double check that the elbow is straight. If you have hyperflexive elbows, a little bend here is okay as well. And we're going to try to pick this PVC straight off the ground in the same direction that it's pointing back behind me. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Don't move the torso. Don't bend the elbow. Just trying to lighten the pressure that the PVC is pushing into the floor. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Switch sides will be done as soon as we are done with this right side. Leaning forward, feeling the stretch in the right shoulder. To me, this side feels way better than my other side, which kind of is apparent from when I did my external rotation stuff. Better external rotation on the right side than the left, better flexion on the right than the left, okay? So exactly what I was just talking about. We're gonna start stabbing the PVC down to the floor. Give me 20%. Keeping the chest reaching forward if you're able to, 40%. Pushing down harder, 60%. If it still feels okay, go up to 80%. Drive down as hard as you can, 100%. Holding this here for 12 seconds. Keep driving that arm down. Good work, guys. We're almost to the last portion here. Our last thing is our rails contraction. We're going to try to lift the PVC up. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Try to lift the PVC up. No change of the torso angle, no elbow bending, no head moving forward and back. I'm just lightening the pressure. The PVC is pushing down to the floor. You got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. relax. You can set that PVC pipe down, shake the arms out. If you have a little bit of time, give me a couple shoulder cars. Otherwise, you guys are done for the day. I'll see you tomorrow. Good work.